guys, welcome back to my channel.
Daily Wednesdays.
So, okay, first things first, I'm changing my upload schedule. I'm just going to upload on any day of the week, but it will be once weekly. But there's just not a specific day.
You know, she's going to be happy with such uploads.
Yeah. Stop! But yeah, today I got a conspiracy theory video. I feel like it's different to videos I've done on my channel before. But it's something we're both interested in. We have conversations about conspiracy theories, like, so much. But I feel like this is going to be a long ass video, so let's just get into it.
These are all theories, I don't want to get, like, killed.
Yeah, like, we're not even saying we believe these theories, they're just interesting. I'm going to shut the door because I'm scared. But we're going to explain 2 theories each. Obviously not going to be super detailed because we don't have that kind of time. So I'm currently editing and I realised that if I put 2 conspiracy theories each in, then it's going to be a very long video. So yeah, I'm just going to put 1 conspiracy theory in each and I'll make it like a 2-part thing. So I'll upload the second part in a few weeks so I don't have any video ideas. Yeah. That's what I have to say. I'll say my first one first, then you go, then me, then you, yeah? Okay, also I made us some iced coffee and it's great, isn't it?
Sip, sip.
So the Titanic sunk on April 15th, 1912, killing 1,500 people. It was like to New York when the ocean liner hit an iceberg off the coast of Newfoundland. It then sank due to the damage and yeah, you know the rest. Given the level of like publicity that this whole thing got, there's no wonder that it just received a handful of conspiracy theories, you know. One of the conspiracy theories is that the Titanic didn't sink. That's right, it didn't sink.
Number 1.
So the Titanic actually had like an identical sister kind of ship called the Olympic, and they were very, very similar other than like a few minor differences which we'll get onto later. And according to this theory, the whole sinking of the ship was actually a scam, an insurance scam to get money, because the Olympic had been involved in an accident where it had hit a warship in 1911 and they were actually to blame for that accident and they couldn't afford to pay for the damages of the 2 ships that were involved. So they came up with the scam because that's what the government do.
Maybe.
We think. And the Olympic ship was fixed up, made to look like the Titanic. They were swapped. It was fixed up the best that it could be. And yeah, they painted over the logo, over the writing, and literally just swapped ships. So, like I said, there was a few minor differences. In fact, they're not even minor, they're quite major differences. Like, I don't understand how they didn't expect people not to notice. The Olympic had 16 portholes and the Titanic only had 14. But if you look at if you look at pictures of the Titanic the day it what's the word? Sailed off.
Set sail.
The day it set sail, the Titanic actually has 16 portholes. What? So James Cameron was
Look, she just gives you it.
James Cameron went underwater to explore the Titanic and he actually took pictures of what he saw with technology. And in those pictures, you can see the letters M and P underneath the paint that has actually peeled off from the decay of the ship. And I mean, you know, what has M and P in? Olympic. Does Titanic have an M in it? No. Does it have a P in it? No. Also, at the time of the Titanic, there was a coal strike going on in the area. So thousands of people were actually looking for work, but they were struggling to get people to work on the Titanic, which doesn't really make sense. But apparently the locals had heard of the swappings of the ships and they didn't want to be involved in that, so they wouldn't work for it. which makes sense because if you're looking for work, why would you not work on such a famous ship that you're going to get recognition for and you're going to get a lot of money for? Do you know what I mean? And also, this is another very booky thing. Rich people who had tickets for the ship, a lot of them didn't turn up that day. JP Morgan, he was a millionaire at that time. He was a very rich guy. And he had tickets for the Titanic, but he was apparently too ill to turn up. However, on the day that Titanic set sail, he was seen by the New York Times out with his girlfriend. So obviously people had a high status. They didn't want to be aboard the ship that they knew was going to sink, and they just kind of let them know that there was something going on, so don't come, you know. And finally, James Fenton, I think that's how you say it. James Fenton was actually a worker who worked on the ship, and he said on his deathbed, Titanic didn't sink, Olympic did. And him and his crew obviously survived the Titanic, but when they actually got to land, they were met with a group of people from the government, and when they said that obviously they're going to snitch because what the hell, the government basically threatened them, saying that they will send them to prison for the rest of their lives and things like that, things they didn't want to happen. So they all kept quiet, and that's why James decided to stay on his deathbed, because they can't really do anything to him on his head, you know. Yeah, that's what I've really got for that, but I actually really do think that the Titanic just didn't sink. I do think it was the Olympic. There's probably more things that I didn't include because I did have to be rough, and I've literally only been researching it today. But yeah, that's my first conspiracy theory. Done did. What do you think of it?
Oh, like, yeah, I think it's quite believable actually, especially with the pictures. My one is about the Men in Black. So
I've never heard this, so I'm quite intrigued. Let me get my blanket.
get ready. So a lot of people probably see the film like Men in Black, where there's like Will Smith and that's in it, and they're all in like suits, and there's like trying to hide like aliens away from the world, like so like they don't know what's going on in the government and that. It's like
hard, isn't it?
A low-key government like organisation whose objective is to like monitor like extraterrestrial activity and like hide it away from society. The ones in the movie, like I said, they wear like black suits and they wear sunglasses, and some of them wear hats, like so they all look the same, so the identity is not really like noticeable. And people believe like it was based off like a real thing. They believe the Men in Black is real. However, some people who have like reported to see the Men in Black have said like they lack human features. Like some of them like Slender Man, that they don't really have like a really like recognisable face, and like some of them don't have like hair or eyebrows and things like that. They're believed to only target civilians who have like been abducted by aliens, seen UFOs, or like those who do like intense research on it, like who are like close to finding out something.
So
like, yeah. Real Men in Black are said to like demand silence off those who like have material or like know stuff about things they shouldn't, like who go into like deep government files, if you get what I mean. There have been many sightings of the alleged men in Black. You can like look on YouTube and all that stuff and you'll see them. And even some celebrities have come out and said like they believe they've seen like the Men in Black and that they've like come to them and that. One of the most famous and most known reported sightings was by Dr. Albert KB, and he was in the US Air Force during World War II, and he was the founder of the International Flying Saucer Bureau and the director of a small publication called Space Review, which was like about trying to like debunk all like the government cover-ups and things like that, which is dangerous as it is. And he became obsessed with like the ideas of like UFOs and like extraterrestrial life, and he did like tireless and endless research like on it, like, and he had like a lot of information that like not a lot of people knew about. Like he really went deep into it, and he was believed to have some information that was like gonna change the way people viewed like UFOs, and that like he felt like he like had the proof. And in 1953 he had put like loads of files together, and he believed like he literally had the proof of like to debunk all government cover-ups, to tell everyone UFOs are real, where they're seen, and like so everyone knew what was going on, and so he could like prove the government wrong, and he'd become quite famous from it. And from excitement, like, he did make that report, and he intended to publish it like as soon as possible to the public. But before he got the chance to add it to the book I mentioned earlier, Space Review, which was like a couple of different editors who like did research, but they didn't do it like as much as he did. And he said that before he was able to edit it into the book, a group of strange, tall, like white men came all in the same black suits, but they had no hair, no eyebrows, and they're like, he said their skin was almost transparent, like how white they were. And he said they knocked the door and like.
So like Voldemort.
Yeah, basically.
That's creepy.
Like they're human, but they don't look human. Like that's what he said. He said that they knocked the door. He answered, and they showed like a white card that said security, but like he didn't say what those security are or like any other information. Like that they didn't give him time to speak. They just spoke at him, and they warned and threatened him that they'd put him in prison for life and hurt his family if he didn't stop his research and destroy all evidence he had, and like cut himself off from like the groups he was linked to and like the editing of the book and stuff like that. And they just left, like literally like vanished. And he said he was like so scared, like he immediately went in, destroyed everything, stopped the bureau, and like didn't like speak to anyone about it. Not long after like that, like I think it was like a month or two after, he had a local newspaper interview where they asked him about like because he was like really famous at the time for things like this, and they asked him about that, and he said very limited things about what he'd found, and then he just explained that what happened with the guys that come to his door. And he said that the visit made him like a changed man. He didn't eat, he didn't drink, he didn't sleep, he didn't talk to family, he didn't talk to friends. He used to be like a really sociable person, and it like really like terrified him.
In July of the same year, when I returned from a summer vacation, I was visited by 3 men in black. They seemed to float off the floor, but wore clothes similar to an earth clergyman. They frightened me half to death, since I did not know they were present until I got a strange prickly sensation on the back of my neck, as if I could feel someone staring at me.
There was also a time the doctor received a strange phone call, like this was like just before the man in black turned up at his door. And he answered it, and he said like there was like no one spoke down, it was like a weird hum. And he could sense someone was there, but like he was waiting to see if they'd speak back. And he said suddenly, like after the hum had finished, his head started spinning and throbbing, and he was throwing up, and he just didn't feel well at all. But he felt like, because at the time he was researching, he felt like someone just wanted him to stop, but like he just toned it down a bit. Like he still looked into it, he just toned it down a bit. And then
this might be bite my nails, I'm that intrigued.
And then years down the line, he published a book in the 1960s about the Men in Black, but the contents were very vague compared to his previous books, which were really detailed about UFOs. And it was just basic stuff everyone knew, like how UFOs are like linked to aliens and what they look like. It just wasn't what everyone's used to. And his friend said he was never the same since the visit, and he never spoke a word to anyone about UFOs again. And then he died in 2002, and still then nobody knew like anything. Like he literally took it to the grave, like nobody knows what happened, and he literally destroyed every piece of evidence there was. That's a lot to take in.
I'm quite scared.
Yeah, like when I first heard about that, I was like, wow, I thought it was just a movie. Like,
Blimey.
that one really scared me. Like I used to look so deeply into it, and then I felt like it's probably me being paranoid, but I felt like I was being watched, so I just stopped doing it. Like I was like, no, this is not for me. Like when I used to search into the Illuminati, I was like, no.
That's crazy.
So,
wow. Okay, so that was this week's video. I feel like it was an interesting one. These are the kind of videos I love watching.
Like Shane Dawson.
Yeah. I don't understand how he films on his own, you know, because I'm feeling quite scared now.
I know.
Like,
in his little.
on his own in a room, I would be petrified.
Like we're literally sat like facing windows all around us.
And I'm petrified because it's pitch black outside. But yeah, this is this week's video. I hope you enjoyed. Comment down below which conspiracy theory was your favourite, and if you have any more details that I didn't add. Hope you enjoyed this week's video, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and follow Chelsea on her social medias. It'll be linked down below.
Subscribe to Jade Samantha.
And yeah, I'll see you sometime next week for another video, I hope. Bye. Bye.
had a dream. We were sipping a whiskey neat, highest floor of the Bowery, and I was high enough.